Hi children, our next topic is the structure and polarization of carbonyl compounds and the preparation methods of aldehydes and ketones. So first we will see about the structure and polarization of carbonyl compounds. So already we studied about carbonyl compounds. What do you mean by carbonyl compounds? These are the compounds which contains carbonyl group. What do you mean by carbonyl group? C double bond O group is called as carbonyl group. So all those compounds which contain C double bond O group are known as carbonyl compounds. Then what about the structure of a carbonyl compound? We know that a single bond is always sigma. So this single bond is always sigma. Double bond means 1 sigma and 1 pi. So regarding the first point, if a carbon atom, if it is surrounded by all sigma bonds, the hybridization will be sp3. Now, if a carbon atom is surrounded by at least 1 pi, the hybridization will be sp2, and if a carbon atom is surrounded by 2 pi bonds, the hybridization will be sp. Now, here in carbonyl group, this carbon is known as carbonyl carbon and this oxygen is known as carbonyl oxygen. That means the carbon atom of carbonyl group will be called as carbonyl carbon and the oxygen atom of carbonyl group will be called as carbonyl oxygen. So, what is the hybridization of this carbonyl carbon here? Now, again we will be using the term carbonyl carbon and carbonyl oxygen only. So, what is the hybridization of carbonyl carbon here? It is surrounded by 1 pi bond. So, the hybridization is sp2. So, the first point is the carbonyl carbon is sp2 hybridized. Now, we will see how this carbon oxygen pi bond is formed here. Surrounding this carbon, how many sigma bonds are there? 1, 2 and there is one carbon oxygen sigma bond. Now we are going to explain how this carbon oxygen pi bond is formed. We know that, what do you mean by sp2 hybridization? One s orbital and two p orbitals are undergoing hybridization. But we know that for p orbital or p subshell, how many orbitals are there? 3 orbitals are there, that is px, py and pz. So among the 3 p orbitals, only 2 p orbitals are undergoing hybridization. So the carbonyl carbon is sp2 hybridized means in this carbonyl carbon there is one unhybridized p orbital. What do you mean by unhybridized p orbital? The p orbital which is not undergoing hybridization, because only 2 p orbitals are undergoing hybridization here. Similarly, on this carbonyl oxygen also there is an unhybridized p orbital. But what about the position of this unhybridized p orbital here? The carbonyl carbon, the carbonyl oxygen and whatever is the group attached to this carbonyl carbon, all these are having, or this structure is having planar geometry. What do you mean by planar structure? Because suppose if this is the plane as that of the paper, the carbonyl carbon, the carbonyl oxygen, and all the groups attached to this carbonyl carbon will be present on the same plane. All the groups, all the atoms will be lying on the same plane. Then the unhybridized p orbital on this carbonyl carbon can be represented like this. So how is the position? It lies, how it lies? Above this plane. Okay, perpendicular to this plane. So the unhybridized p orbital present on this carbonyl oxygen. This also how it is lying? Perpendicular to this plane. Okay, so how the carbon oxygen pi bond formation, they will overlap, resulting in the formation of carbon oxygen pi bond. And as we said, the carbonyl carbon, here it is sp2 hybridized with one unhybridized p orbital perpendicular to this plane, isn't it? So the fourth valence electron of carbon atom or carbonyl carbon will be present in this unhybridized p orbital. Now, since all these, the carbonyl oxygen, carbonyl carbon and all the groups attached to this carbonyl carbon, since they all lie on the same plane, the geometry here is trigonal planar with bond angle. All the bond angles will be 120 degree. This is about the structure of carbonyl group. Now we will see the polarization. So the next topic is polarization of carbonyl group. How is the polarization of carbonyl group? Why it is known as polarization? Polar means charge. So there is charge separation in carbonyl group. Why? We know the structure of the general representation of the carbonyl group is like this. And here there is a carbon oxygen bond. We know that oxygen is more electronegative than carbon. So what happens? The shared pair of electrons will be shifting little bit towards oxygen. Makes oxygen delta minus. So since oxygen is more electronegative than carbon, oxygen gets a partial negative charge. Then that means the shared pair of electrons, if the electrons are shifting little bit towards oxygen, means they are moving little bit away from carbon. So carbonyl carbon is getting a partial positive charge. So this is about the polarization of carbonyl group. The reason for polarization is due to the high electronegativity of carbonyl oxygen. Now due to this development of partial positive and negative charge, what happens? Since oxygen is more electronegative than carbon, this pair of electrons can be completely shifted towards oxygen. In this movement of electrons, we are representing by using arrows. So if we are drawing the resonating structure of carbonyl group, how it will be? There is no change in this single bond. Double bond will become single bond O. Now here the pi bond is completely shifting towards oxygen. That means oxygen will get a complete negative charge and carbon gets a complete positive charge. Now this carbonyl carbon will be called as the electrophilic center. What do you mean by electrophilic center? What do you mean by electrophile? Electrophiles we are representing by E+. That means electrophiles are electron loving species. That means they will be either electron deficient or positively charged. So here the carbonyl carbon is getting a complete positive charge. So this can be called as the electrophilic center. Similarly, oxygen is getting negative charge, complete negative charge. So carbonyl oxygen will be called as the nucleophilic center. Carbonyl carbon is known as electrophilic center. The positive center will be called as electrophilic center and the negative center will be known as nucleophilic center. So, this is about the polarization of carbonyl group. Next, we are going to study about the preparation methods of aldehydes and ketones. Means, what do you mean by preparation methods of aldehydes and ketones? There are few methods by which we can prepare both aldehydes and ketones. So, which are the methods? Number 1, preparation methods of aldehydes and ketones from alcohols. How we can convert alcohols to aldehydes and ketones? Let us take the very simple example. We know that what is the general formula of a primary alcohol? Primary alcohols will be CH2OH. Okay, how we can convert this primary alcohol into aldehyde or ketone? Suppose if I am removing this hydrogen from this primary alcohol, that is CH2OH, what it will become? CH2OH will become CHO, isn't it? So, how we can convert primary alcohols to aldehyde or alcohols to aldehyde? By removing hydrogen, and the removal of hydrogen is known as oxidation. So, how we can write this method as? That means from alcohols, how we can prepare aldehydes and ketones? By oxidation. So, before we study the oxidation reaction, let us revise or recollect the oxidizing agents. There are two types of oxidizing agents, strong oxidizing agents and mild oxidizing agents that we have already studied in alcohol phenol chapter. So, which are the strong oxidizing agents we have? The two main strong oxidizing agents are alkaline KMnO4. How we are representing alkaline KMnO4? It can also be represented as KMnO4 bar OH minus. Now, another example is acidified K2Cr2O7. Acidified potassium dichromate. It can also be written as K2Cr2O7. So, these are the two main strong oxidizing agents we are using. Now, which are the examples of mild oxidizing agents? First of all, whenever we study the reactions in organic chemistry, first study the reagents. Okay. So, which are the mild oxidizing agents? Example, CrO3, that is chromic oxide, then PCC. What is PCC? Pyridinium chlorochromate. Then we can use copper and heat. What do you mean by copper and heat? We are heating with copper. So, these are the examples of mild oxidizing agents. Keep it inside a box. So, first of all, study the reagents we are using. Now, going back to the preparation of preparation of aldehydes and ketones by the oxidation of alcohols. So, if I am oxidizing, what is meant by CH2OH? It is a primary alcohol. Primary alcohol, if I am oxidizing with a mild oxidizing agent, first we will be getting aldehyde, which on further oxidation we get carboxylic acid. Very important. A primary alcohol on oxidation using mild oxidizing agent, we get aldehyde only. If the oxidizing agent is mild, CH2OH group will be converted to CHO only. Then on further oxidation, this oxidation either you can use mild or strong aldehyde on oxidation. Whether we are using mild oxidizing agent or strong, you will be always getting carboxylic acid. So this is very important. Okay, for example, CH3, CH2, CH2OH. If I am oxidizing by using alkaline KMnO4, see the way of writing? If such a question comes, first in organic chemistry, first you have to identify the reagent. From the reagent you can identify the reaction, then only write the product. So what is written above the arrow? Alkaline KMnO4 is written, and we know that it is a strong oxidizing agent. Now see the reactant molecule, it is a primary alcohol. So simply circle the CH2OH group. What happens if we are oxidizing a primary alcohol with strong oxidizing agent? Yes, you will be getting carboxylic acids. So very easy to write the product. Simply replace CH2OH by COOH group. The rest part of the molecule you can copy. So what will be the product? CH3CH2. Instead of CH2OH, we can write COOH. Equation complete. Now another example, CH3 if the same molecule, if I am oxidizing or if I am treating with PCC. So from the reagent it is clear that the reaction taking place is oxidation, but it is a mild oxidizing agent. And here, now after that see the reactant. It is a primary alcohol, and we know that if you are oxidizing a primary alcohol with PCC, what will be the reaction taking place, or what will be happening here? Primary alcohol will be oxidized only to aldehyde. So very easy to write the product. Replace CH2OH by CHO. The rest you can write the same. So what will be the product? CH3, CH2. Instead of CH2OH, you will be getting CHO. Hope it is clear to you. So once again, primary alcohol on oxidation using strong oxidizing agent, you will be getting carboxylic acid. But if you are using mild, you will be getting only aldehyde. Aldehyde always on oxidation, we will be getting carboxylic acids. Now, if I take a ketone, how can we get ketone from this? What is the general representation of a secondary alcohol? It is CHOH with 2 free valencies. It represents secondary alcohol. Secondary alcohol on oxidation, we are getting. Oxidation means removal of hydrogen. If we are removing these 2 hydrogen remaining, what we are getting? CO only. That means we are getting ketone. Very important. Secondary alcohol, always on oxidation we are getting ketone, whether it is mild oxidizing agent or strong oxidizing agent. For example, CH3, CHOH, CH3. If I am heating with copper. So what is the reaction happening here? From the reagent it is clear that the reaction happening is oxidation, and copper and heat, it is a mild oxidizing agent. And see the reactant, here we have an alcohol, and the alcohol is a secondary alcohol. So mark only the CHOH part. It is a secondary alcohol. On oxidation we know that we are getting ketone. So how we can write the product easily? Simply replace CHOH by CO. The rest we can copy. So what we will be getting the product as CH3, CO, CH3. So remember, secondary alcohols on oxidation always we are getting ketone, whether it is a mild oxidizing agent or strong oxidizing agent. Okay. So this is about the oxidation of alcohols. Now, the second method of preparation is from hydrocarbons. How we can prepare aldehydes and ketones from hydrocarbons? So here mainly we are using alkenes and alkynes. We know that alkenes and alkynes are hydrocarbons. Okay. So first we are going to prepare aldehydes and ketones from alkenes. How we can prepare aldehydes and ketones from alkenes? The method is known as by ozonolysis. Already this ozonolysis we have studied in class 11, but it's the same topic we have this year also. So we can understand the ozonolysis from an example. Okay, CH3, CH, double bond CH, CH3. It is an alkene, isn't it? Containing double bond. At the same time, it is a hydrocarbon, that means containing carbon and hydrogen only. So, ozonolysis means first we are treating the alkene with ozone. How we are adding ozone? In the first step we are adding ozone to an alkene. So first what will we get? In order to add ozone, where we are adding this ozone in an alkene, we are adding ozone to the carbon-carbon double bond. So to write the addition product, first we have to remove the double bond. So it will be CH3, CH, remove the double bond because in the double bond we are adding ozone. Okay. So CH, single bond CH3. To the double bond only we are adding ozone, and we are adding ozone in a Hutt model. Ozone, we know that there are 3 oxygen atoms. So we are adding ozone. See how we are adding? In a Hutt model. Okay. Now, so this is known as, this is the product we are getting after adding ozone. So we can call it as an addition product. What is a single word for addition product? Adduct. So this is an adduct we are getting after adding ozone, and this adduct name is ozonide. So in the first step we are adding ozone to an alkene and we get the addition product called ozonide. In the second step, what we are doing is we are splitting the ozonide using zinc dust and water. So in the second step we have to treat with Zn bar H2O. What is Zn bar H2O? We are treating with zinc dust and water. So what happens here is, see how is the splitting? Okay, so tell me the product you are getting. CH3, CHO. The remaining part is removed from the molecule. So CH3, CHO plus you are getting another molecule also, CH3, CHO. So this is also separated. Plus byproduct what you are getting? Here there is only one oxygen at the top that will be combining with H2O to form H2O2. So in organic chemistry usually there is no need to write the byproducts, only for the named reactions we need to write the byproducts. So here the two main products are two molecules of CH3CHO. We will see one more example. Of ozonolysis. Another alkene, we are going to do ozonolysis. So first we have to treat with ozone. We are going to add ozone and we are adding ozone to double bond. So what we will get it as CH3CH. By removing double bond we have to add ozone in the Hutt model. So the double bond we have to remove. On this carbon we have two CH3 groups. Hope it is clear to you. Now add ozone. We are adding ozone to the same double bonded carbon atom by removing double bond. Okay. In the second step we are splitting using zinc dust and water. What is this product known as? This is the adduct or ozonide. Okay. In the second step we will split. Tell me the product you are getting. CH3CHO plus CH3COCH3 plus hydrogen peroxide byproduct. Now here, from these two equations, how we can define ozonolysis as? It is a reaction in which it is the addition of ozone to a carbon-carbon double bond or an alkene to form an addition product called ozonide, followed by splitting using zinc dust and water to give aldehydes or ketones. Now, what is the word meaning of ozonolysis? Usually lysis means, hydrolysis means splitting using water, electrolysis means splitting using electricity. So ozonolysis we can define as it is splitting using ozone. It is correct, no? Here also we are splitting. What we are splitting here? We are splitting an alkene. See, we are splitting here, no? So at the position, at the double bond, we are splitting an alkene into carbonyl compounds, that is aldehyde and ketone, using ozone. Now see the products. After ozonolysis we can get either an aldehyde or ketone, isn't it? In the first example we got two molecules of aldehyde. The reason is when we are getting aldehyde and when we are getting ketone after ozonolysis, if the double bonded carbon, here the double bonded carbon is CH double bond CH. If the double bonded carbon contains hydrogen, the product will be an aldehyde, and if the double bonded carbon does not contain any hydrogen, what will be the product we are getting? Look at here, here it is CH double bond C. So after this reaction, here what is the product we are getting? Where there is CH, it becomes CHO, and where is C, that became CO. That means, very important point, if the double bonded carbon contains hydrogen, after ozonolysis the product will be an aldehyde, and if the double bonded carbon does not contain hydrogen, the product will be a ketone. So this is about the reaction. Now there is one usual pattern of question coming for the board exam, especially in ABC questions, there will be question to identify, product will be given and the question will be to identify the alkene. That means aldehyde or ketone will be given, the question will be to find out the alkene from which these carbonyl compounds are formed after ozonolysis. There is an easy way to find out the original alkene. Consider a question. For example, the question is, after ozonolysis, we are getting CH3CHO and HCHO. Identify the alkene from which these two products are obtained after ozonolysis. Very easy to find out. Write the products formulas, CH3CHO and HCHO. And what we have to do is mark the carbonyl carbon in both. Carbonyl carbon means aldehyde or ketone carbon in both. So what we will get? So here the carbonyl carbon is aldehyde carbon. Here also the carbonyl carbon is CHO. Now what we have to do next is connect these two carbon atoms. Connect both carbonyl carbon atoms using a double bond after removing oxygen. So what we will get? Can you read from here? CH3, this carbon we have to connect with this carbon after removing O. So what we will get? CH, oxygen we have to remove, isn't it? And we have to connect using double bond. So CH, double bond, connect to this carbon. And here it is HCHO, we can say as CH2O. No, it is correct. So double bond CH2. Because we have to remove oxygen from there also. So from which alkene these two aldehydes are formed after ozonolysis? This is the alkene. One more example we will see. The products of ozonolysis. The products of ozonolysis are CH3CHO and CH3COCH3. How we can identify the alkene? The rule is same. Not rule, it is only a tip to identify. Mark the carbonyl carbon in both. Which is the carbonyl carbon here? CHO carbon. Which is the carbonyl carbon here? CO carbon. Now we have to connect these two carbon atoms using a double bond after removing oxygen from both. So tell me what is the product we will be getting. Read from here. CH3, CH, remove oxygen, and this carbon we have to connect with this carbon using double bond. And we have to remove oxygen from here also. Then what else is remaining on this carbon? 2 CH3 groups. So this is about the alkene. Hope it is clear to you. So there can be question in the complete the following section to write the product of ozonolysis. And the second pattern of question coming is from the product to identify the alkene. Okay. Now, the second preparation methods of aldehydes and ketones from hydrocarbon is from alkynes. From alkynes means containing carbon-carbon triple bond, we are preparing aldehydes or ketones by hydration method. How we are doing the hydration of alkynes? The reagent, first of all study the reagent for the hydration of alkyne. The reagent for hydration of alkyne is either we can write it as Hg2 plus in presence of H2SO4, or we can write this as, we know that Hg mercury when it reacts with sulfuric acid, what we are getting? HgSO4. So first study the reagent. What is the reagent that we use for the hydration of alkynes? It is mercury in presence of sulfuric acid or mercuric sulfate. Okay. Now the example for the reaction. Take the example of CH3, C triple bond CH. It is an alkyne. So first we know that this is the reagent for hydration, isn't it? So what is the reaction basically happening here? Hydration means addition of water. So we are adding water to alkyne. Okay. So the reagent is HgSO4. Basically we are adding water. How we are adding water? Water reactions always study as HOH. And all the additions are usually taking place according to Markovnikov's rule. So here the triple bond, we are adding water to a carbon-carbon triple bond. So the negative part of water, that is OH minus, will be attached to carbon with less number hydrogen, and the positive part, that means H plus, will be attached to carbon with more number of hydrogen. So how we can write it as OH minus to carbon with less number hydrogen and H plus to carbon with more number of hydrogen. That is Markovnikov's rule. So what will be getting the product as? CH3, C. So OH will be attached to COH. After the addition, triple bond becomes double bond and CH becomes CH2. A compound containing both double bond and OH are known as enols. What do you mean by enols? En represents double bond and ol represents alcohol. So after the addition of or after the hydration of an alkyne, we are getting enols. Since enols are highly unstable, they will undergo, very, very important, they undergo tautomerism. What do you mean by tautomerism? Very simple. This hydrogen will be shifted to here and this double bond will be shifted to here. Hope the shifting is clear to you. From enol, from OH group, hydrogen will be shifted to the double bonded carbon and double bond will be shifted to carbon oxygen bond. So what we will get is CH3. Then C, single bond OH becomes, now there is no hydrogen here and single bond becomes double bond. And double becomes single here and CH2 will become CH3. What we got now is a ketone. So this is the hydration of alkynes. The reagent is mercuric sulfate. So these are the methods of preparation of aldehydes and ketones. That means the methods that we can use for the preparation of both aldehydes and ketones. Okay. Thank you.